What is this? Hey, I was on my way to one of the go-to parks, but on the way, I passed by, I don't know what this is, some sort of a abandoned, what do we got? What do we got? Okay, we've got some awnings and some trees. We got the tree gap back here. There's not a whole lot to this spot, just a couple of things all kind of tight together. But that's good, it'll give me just a few different tricks I can kind of all do, which is kind of perfect for what I wanted to do today, which was a little bit of a comparison. Today, my drone bag is extra loaded up. We've got my standard top mount Drib Edition Fusion build. Over here, we've got Schizo's old frame, the Dark Matter. This is a bottom mount battery. And over yonder, we've got the Umagod Remix mid mount battery. So each of these drones has some differences in their architecture and their setup. So first off, we've got my Fusion setup. This is actually not a true X frame, it's squished or H, whatever you want to call it, but the distance between the motors front to back is smaller than it is left to right, and that makes room for the body of the drone while letting the arms be as short as possible. This is running my signature motor, which is a high kV motor and a 5-inch propeller. The main thing we're going to be focusing on is with the battery and GoPro mounted on top. The center of weight is above the prop line, so that is going to affect how the flight controller allows the drone to actually fly. Next up, we have got the Dark Matter quad. This is a bottom mount battery. The motors are slightly smaller than my signature motor, but they are also a high kV and will be running the same 5-inch propeller. This is a true X frame. The arms are evenly spaced out, and that's easier to do with a construction like this because you don't have an elongated center body that you need to make room for. And the other thing that's going to affect it is the lightest of the three. Frames with a bottom mount architecture tend to be lighter because, again, there's less actual carbon involved in the body, and overall the build just ends up being more compact because you have to squeeze everything into a tighter area. With the battery on the bottom, most pilots say that they notice a pendulum effect where the weight of the battery pulling on the bottom wants to pull it level. Bottom mounts are particularly prominent in racing, and a lot of racers say that effect of the inertia being on the bottom helps them swing around turns, things like that. For freestyle, we do have a GoPro strapped to the top to capture footage, so that's going to balance things out a little bit, and that's just what we would run for freestyle. Last up, we've got the Umagod Remix. This is sporting another set of Hype Train motors, so they're the same size as my motors, but it's a mid kV instead of a high kV. However, the arms on this quad are a little bit longer, so we actually have 5.5-inch props, which is gonna make this handle somewhere between a 5-inch and a 6-inch, obviously. Like the bottom mount battery, the architecture of the arms is also true X, so again, equal spacing. And what we're focusing on today is the GoPro and the battery are slammed down to be even with the prop line. We've got all of our components in this cage kind of underslung. So the idea here is this should be the most neutral of the quads. So we're just gonna give each of these drones a fly and see what differences we can feel. So first up is the top mount setup, because it's what I fly 90% of the time. So everything I feel is gonna be kind of in comparison to this. And so I guess I'm not sure what to say, except for this is what I feel used to. Everything feels very locked in and predictable. I like the way the weight carries with this. It's got just the right amount of kind of natural flow to it, if that makes sense. When I toss it, I just feel like it travels just the right amount. And that's a function of its weight as well as the center of gravity. And this spot is even tighter than I realized. Let's see if we can push it for like a dive or something. There we go, that was a little sloppy. We're just warming up, give me some slack. And one of the best parts about top mount batteries is you can skid. We're just doing the line of sight test on the bottom mount. I was like just give it a couple snap rolls, and I can just feel like even line of sight right off the bat that the roll characteristics a little bit different. Let me swap those sunglasses for some real eyewear. So in the goggles, let's give it a couple snap moves. So one difference is actually how it feels, but you know, another is actually where the FPV camera is located relative to where the quad moves. So on a top mount or on the mid mount, the camera is pushed forward, but with this bottom mount, the FPV camera is really close to the body, so the camera doesn't get swung as much with yaw, if that makes sense. It actually is rotating rather than swinging on an arc. But honestly, I get used to a bottom mount pretty fast. It feels different. I guess let me give it some banking turns to see if I feel that pendulum business. And I just don't think I feel it too strongly. Then again, I have tuned this a little bit to feel what I like. So it has been kind of tuned to maybe remove some of that. So that's kind of something to keep in mind, is you can take any of these architectures and play with the tune a lot. Alright, the dive. Nope, 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 nope. Alright, do one more. Shaboom. That was clean. Not exactly the way I intended to go through, but it is fun to fly something more lightweight. I do kind of prefer having more mass to throw around, not too much of course, but this being lighter weight, as I've mentioned previously, does just change how it flicks around. It doesn't, I guess I would say it doesn't travel as far. It gets up there faster, but the travel, like if I want to do a hang time move like this, I have to plan knowing that it's not gonna carry as much of its travel as my my normal quad. One more of these dives. There we go, that's exactly what I wanted. All right, ready for this? We're gonna try and skid it on the battery. Nope, 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 nope. I don't know why, like, you can't do that. All right, we are now in the Remix mid-mount battery. You can just tell from the shadow it looks a lot different. It's the most different feeling. I mean, the top mount and the bottom mount, they're different, but it's not too dramatic. This is, oh yeah, it's different, and I just don't even know how to describe it. Except that I don't know how to shoot gaps quite as well. Neutral is really the only word I can use to describe it, and I don't know if that's just because that's what we're supposed to think it is, you know, with the center of mass being centralized. Something I would also say is that the rates on all three of these quads are the same. So I just put the same numbers in for rates, and yet it still feels pretty different. So there's a physical element to how the rate system of the flight controller actually translates to the real world. Let's do the dive. Yeah, now I'm really warmed up to that one. I can hit it a lot more precisely, but can I? There we go. I got, oh, what the hell? What the, oh, no! One last note about why I believe I'm going to be sticking with top mount batteries is because for me, when flying a 5-inch drone, the HD footage that I get out of the GoPro is very important to me, and I like to go for this feeling where it doesn't necessarily look like FPV drone footage. Having the camera elevated while that mass affects the flight characteristics allows for the props to stay out of view. I don't want to see the props, and with something like this, it becomes just very likely, definitely with this frame, there could be other mid-mount frames that could position things a little bit differently to get the props out of view. I think I'm going to be sticking with top mount as my main choice, but I always like to keep experimenting with new things. You never know when something new is going to open up something new for you because of a new way that it feels, and maybe your preferences will change, or maybe just having that new experience is helpful. The comparisons were a ton of fun to do, but I gotta say, I kind of feel that my run from my favorite quad ended up being the weakest. I wasn't really warmed up yet. I was still exploring the spot. So we're gonna get one more flight here with my main quad setup and see if we can kind of push this spot a little bit more.